Okay, we are live. We'll wait for a few people to join. Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? Hello. Good morning. Okay, perfect. So, we're looking at pound yen over here. Let's start off with what we are looking at. So I think the first thing we need to add over here is at this level right here. So we're in a range right now on the 4 hour, which obviously means that, while we're in this consolidation, probably not going to be the best area to trade, but I do have a session bias in mind. So we have a previous 4 hour support here that is of potential interest if we start to reject and come down. Sorry, if we start to reject to go up, basically. So what's the scenario for GJ? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right now. So basically, obviously I was speaking about market open yesterday, and just the fact that if we close let's say back above this range, I would expect to see the whole range filled. Now that's what kind of happened overnight, and now we're basically just in a consolidation. So when the 4 hours in consolidation like this, it is going to be very difficult to trade, so to speak. But however, during your session, sometimes you can get opportunity within your 4 hour range. So right now I'm currently looking at potential selling opportunity, right, to retest this low that's been created during late Asian, early London, right? Reason being, what we can see is that we had a a support right here in the range, and what we did, we broke down. So this kind of closed below support, we had a little bit of a move down, we had a little rejection of the previous 4 hour level that we spoke about, and then now we're obviously pulling back. If we create a solid resistance right here, then there's a possibility that we can have the next handle continue down to retest this low, and then maybe continue down out of the range, right? Because if you're going to take a trade within the range, you have to understand that we could get the next candle come down to here, and then at this point we could have a big projection and then come back up over here, right? Which would then make no sense to be in any position, right? Because then at that point, you know that we're not breaking out of the lower end of the 4 hour range, and we're also not breaking out of the 4 hour range to the upside, right? So at the moment, all I can say is if we can get a solid bearish candle close right here on the 30 minute, and then if you look on the 15 minute, if we can get, if this candle breaks up, which it did, to break the high and it closes bearish, then it looks good for at least the next candle to push down to the support. Now what I would then do at that point, for me personally, in my case, would be to use this opportunity to have a shot at breaking out of the range, and then using this area as a break-even target. Because then if I hold a sell beyond this area and we get rejection and we start to push back up, I'm not going to want to hold that sell. So we do have 3 minutes left for this 30-minute candle to close, and all I'm concerned about is if we can have this candle closing fairly strong, let's look on the 5 minute. So 5 minutes kind of consolidating right now, but it did reject, so that's what I'm pleased about for the moment. But we'll see with the 30-minute close over here whether it's worth a shot or not. But yeah, sorry guys, you have to bear with me. It is cold where I am right now, and yeah, the heater, I do have a heater, but it makes a background noise and don't want to disturb the stream. So we've got 2 minutes left. If we get a decent 30-minute close right here, I think it would be worth a shot for us to push down to this support, because then we can have a nice sell coming down to support. Obviously we know we know that it's only a 6-pip range, right? But at that point you could have the next candle moving down and then see if we can get a break moving down further than that with more volume. Would it not be better for a break and close above 152.75? 152.75. Yeah, that's a good idea for buys. Yeah, makes sense for buys. Or below 152. You could look below 152 if you want to be safer. That's okay. That makes sense. Don't get me wrong, but my analysis, I'm looking at, when I come to the charts, where was my most recent support, which was right here. Now creating bearish structure to below that with the target that I have in mind, right? But obviously I want to take profits down here because it's not worth it to take a trade from there to there to take profit. But I can see if I can take a trade from here to push down and out of the range to give it a shot. But it depends how this candle closes in 50 seconds, right? But it's looking good so far. It's looking pretty good. So we could have a stop based on the original breakout for around 10 pips if it closes decent enough, and then target for me would be down at like 151.900 ish. So we got around 20 seconds. I want to see this candle ideally closing bearish. It's a bit of a, yeah, it's okay 30-minute candle right now. 50-minute candle about to close bearish. Beautiful. Okay, got in a sell right there with the new 30-minute candles. We're going to have to expect it to make a little bit of a top wick and then to obviously continue moving bearish. So yeah, this is going to be the target down over here for 151.900, and then current stops are around 152.160. Obviously, if let's say for example we start to get 5-minute closes coming up above 152.090, then obviously we know that the consolidation we have right here means that the volume could go bullish. So then we would just manage the trade accordingly. But until we close above that range, we haven't done that yet so far, so it would still make sense for us to continue down. But we should have some volume coming in. We had a resistance formed below this recent support that I have, so for me that's all that matters. And then if this 30-minute candle can flip bearish and then it starts breaking the low, we should be good to come down, and then this is where we'll be looking to go break even. But obviously, in my opinion, it's worth a shot. But obviously, if you're looking for a safer opportunity, then yes, you would be looking for probably a safer opportunity below 152. But I think it's good for me. but obviously just going to keep an eye on the 5-minute time frame, and we're going to see what happens. Because this 30-minute candle should obviously respect the high of the previous candle, but I'm not so worried about it breaking the high. I'm more worried about if we get the 5-minute up, basically closing in and above that range. As you can see here on the 5-minute, we have some consolidation. We may want to come up, break up into this area and then drive down. But what I'm concerned about is, are we going to get 5-minute candles closing above this consolidation? Because this consolidation has given us an opportunity to expect a break of the consolidation, and for the fact that we've had 15-minute candles bearish, to go with this short-term immediate trend within the range. So for me, it's worth a shot right now. Okay. But yes, Jack, if you would prefer to take a sell below 152, then that's completely up to you. You're going to get an opportunity for that if it presents. But obviously, if that happens, if you get that close below 152, obviously, you've got to be aware of your 4-hour level as well. This level right here, you're going to have to really pay attention to that. Candle's flipping bearish at this point. It's pretty good. You can see here I'm in the position, just to show you guys right there, in that position right here. It's just a 5-minute time frame. So you can see how we're slowly but surely moving our way into profits. But we'll see how it goes. Just keep an eye on the 5-minute, because it looks like it's trying to break down out of the 5-minute consolidation, which is good. So we should have some nice volume coming in very soon. Makes sense? Yes, it does make sense to me. It's worth a shot in my opinion, because for me, I can get this move coming down to there, and then I can go break even and see if we can get the squeeze out of the range, right? But then that would be, in my opinion, better for me than wait until we're down over here, and then if we get a rejection or a fake out, I'm already break even and I'm not worried about it. So, moving pretty good at the minute. It's moving pretty nice for a Monday morning. So probably going to go break even basically at 152 right here. 152 would be the area for a break even. Now if you look on the 5-minute, you can see how we've now broken this consolidation. So we obviously want to see now price continuing moving bearish. All works in the same manner. 30-minute time frame, 1 hour, etc. It's the same. We had a bit of consolidation here on the 5. Obviously, if we start to break up and above, then that's the exit, because then we know that we're breaking consolidation to move up. But at the minute, we've had a 5-minute candle clearly closing in and below. So it makes sense now that we should continue moving bearish. We'll keep it simple by just looking on the 30-minute time frame. Hopefully we get some nice volume coming up real soon. But I'll tell you what guys, it's freezing where I am right now. I was listening back to one of the streams the other day when I had the heater on in the background. I was like, yeah, no, it's just too noisy. Just too noisy. Is GJ retracing for go long in high time frame? Yeah, very much potentially. I'm not going to rule out the fact that I could be wrong. and that higher time frame does want to push up and break up, that's perfectly fine by me. But all I'm concentrating on for the minute is obviously what the chart tells me, lower time frame. I know we're in a range, but that doesn't mean to say that we can't come back down to this level and then go that way. So that at least would give me an opportunity. In theory, then, if we were gonna break up, we wouldn't be creating a resistance, right? In my opinion, we would be, when we had this bullish candle form right here, we could have had another bullish candle closing back in the range, and then start pushing back up to the top of the range. Right now, during volume time, we're creating resistance, and we created, in my opinion, a low based on what I see when I open up the charts. That's what I've seen, right? But we're going to keep an eye on it, right? Because obviously we know where we can get out early if we're wrong, but we also know what makes sense at the moment in terms of the trade. The 30-minute candle to me seemed a strong enough candle to expect the next one to continue down. If you look at the 1 hour as well, this 1 hour candle obviously closed bullish, but we had a strong move down. So obviously I'm focusing on a couple of the things there. Yeah, obviously right now it's finding a little bit struggle, but that's okay. We still got a little bit longer on this next 5-minute candle to see what it wants to do. But I already know where I'd be closing the position out if I'm wrong, right? But I'm going to always look to manage the trade, but for me it's always about making sure I'm taking the same type of entries. That's all that matters to me. And right now the same type of entry is to take, if we break out of the breaking out of the consolidation, we create resistance here, so it all makes good sense, right? I'm just looking at this 5-minute candle. So the 5-minute candle is obviously looking to break up, but if it closes above that resistance, we technically still haven't closed back above my key level. So for me, that's all I'm a little bit concerned about right now. It's tricky. If it closes above there, still hold that until we get that next 5-minute that wants to close up and above 152.090. So if it does that, then obviously that's no good. If it closes above 090, then we exit. But right now it's not too bad. It's not amazing. We'd have to wait for the next 5-minute. If the next 5-minute candle closes up over here, then that's it. Trade did not work out, which is perfectly fine, right? So now I'm going to wait for the next 5-minute candle to see whether we are going to push back up into the range, or we're going to respect this range and we just wanted to make a bit more of a top wick before we came down, which can happen. Would you continue to trail the stop loss or set a TP? No, I've got a TP set at basically 151.900. That's exactly where I want to take my profits, and that would be breaking out to the downside. But I follow my rules here today. But obviously, if it doesn't work out, you can always look at and look at how you could have done better, right? And obviously I knew we was in this big 4-hour range, so I wasn't expecting anything amazing today. But what I was expecting to do was to be able to get into a position that I can move quickly, stops to break even, using the structure that I'm seeing. Obviously if we get the 30-minute candle closing bullish back in the range, then it is what it is, right? But we were creating the structure at the time during a volume that gave me an opportunity to see if we could get a shot. But it's worth a shot. In my opinion, it is worth a shot. But obviously we could start to break up into the range, and then at that point this would not make sense. So we'll see what happens anyway, because we've got plenty of time for GJ to do what it wants to do. Obviously paying close attention as well to the 15-minute candle. Right, because the 15-minute candles come into a close real soon, right? We can also see on the 5-minute time frame that if the 15-minute candle is to close back in the range, that would also mean the 5-minute time frame is also going to do that, which would not be good for my situation. It would then mean we'd have a break of that range, and then we'd have price closing back in the range, which would not be good. But right now we've only got a little bit of drawdown, which is not too bad. And right now we're still respecting the breakout. But yeah, we're going to play it by ear anyway. But believe me, I'd much rather give a trade a shot and close out early for like -4, -3, even anything under 5 I'm happy with, and then give the same idea another chance and, you know, make a quick 16 pips, right? Because that's how I want to play it. You can see here we've got 1 minute left, so if we do start to close up in this range, then the idea is invalid, and then we'll be closing that position. The other thing I liked was obviously the 15-minute. That's what I liked. This whole situation right here, we rejected after that bearish candle, and then that candle broke up to go bearish, and I was like, okay, perfect. You know, plus then we have a 30-minute resistance. We should see the next candle drop down, right? But obviously, it didn't do it in that manner. So we've got like 45 seconds left over here to see what's gonna happen. Because we've only got like 3 pip drawdown, right? So it's not actually that bad. But for me, it's just whether we're going to respect this area or we're going to close up and above this area. Because if we respect this area, then obviously we can still head down, right? We just didn't have the volume at that particular time. So that's all I kind of care about for the moment. So right now we are still, in theory, respecting the range, which is good. But obviously we can still have the next candle go bullish, close up in that range, and then of course then the whole trade is invalid. You can see here the 15-minute candle closed bullish, but notice how it did not close above the body of the 30-minute, right? So if we put a line here, that's where the 30-minute resistance was formed, and notice how the 15-minute respected it. So we don't have a sign to say that, okay, 15-minute is clearly engulfing already, so the trade is invalid. No, we're actually still respecting the 30-minute resistance and the range on the 5. So as it stands, it's not too bad. There's no exit. There's nothing telling us to exit this trade so far. But obviously we have a candle closing bullish, which is, you know, not the best, but it's okay because we can still continue down easily. Easily we can still continue down. So we're gonna, because of what's the smaller time frame, the lower time frames are telling us. I answered that. Would you continue to trail your stop loss or set a TP? No, I've already said I've got a TP set down over here, and we have a break even set basically right down here. So once we hit this level right here, I'm break even, and then I want to see if we can break out of this range. The overall 4-hour range. Hopefully the 30-minute no drives down and breaks previous low. I want it to drive down and break previous low, because that will mean that we go into profit for me. Yeah, that's what I want it to do. 5-minute, It's kind of in that consolidation area again. So we'll have to see. It's a bit tricky right now. But I've still said any of those closes, you know, 5 minute up and above 152.090, that's me out. So I'm letting people know that now, so they don't say, hey, you didn't tell us you were going to exit. Because if you get out over here, you're going to have a much smaller loss, right? Much smaller loss. So we're about halfway into the 30-minute candle, so yeah, it's not looking too good, but we'll see, because there's still plenty of time for it to do what it wants to do. See right now, the 5-minute time frame obviously looks like it's made a bit of a wick here to potentially push back up, so we're going to see. Still got around like 1 minute 40 for the 5-minute candle as well, so just keep an eye on it. Hopefully, breaks now. You're saying that hopefully it breaks now? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, since it flipped back, that it was looking good, but we'll just have to see, because it's yeah, it's moving a bit tricky. I think potentially just one of those days today so far. But what would be nice is if it's creating a bit more of a, you know, a rejection for us to actually come down. But we've got like 45 seconds, and as it stands, obviously it is coming back up in the range, which is not good. So I'll be keeping an eye on this 5-minute candle to see where it's about to close in 30 seconds time. What's your bias on gold? Well, for what I was looking at this morning, more bullish, to be honest, based off the higher time frames. But yeah, we're gonna come back to that. A lot of indecision in the 4-hour time frame. Yes, there is a lot of indecision, and I think a lot of indecision generally now, to be honest, with the like 5-minute. Right, the 5-minute candle is literally closing just below it. Can you believe that? Just below it. So yeah, it's a proper tricky situation. You can see here that the 5-minute candle literally closed just below. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to wait to see this 30-minute close, maybe, you know, or at least if the next 5-minute candle wants to start breaking up, then obviously that would be the easiest way to just close the position. But obviously right now it's not looking too good, right? But this 5-minute candle nearly just gave me the exit, but it didn't, because it actually closed below the below my key 30-minute level. So it's a weird one. As it stands, we could still break down, right? This 15-minute candle hasn't really done much at all. It's just presented a potential bottom wick if we're going to go up, which is fine. But yeah, it's a real tricky situation as it stands right now. Yeah, you can see here the 5 minutes trying to push up into the range. But we do not have any lower time frame closes above 152.090, so it's really tricky at the minute, because otherwise I would have been out by that candle, to be honest. If that had closed a little bit higher up, I'd have been out by that candle. There's no point holding that trade at that point. But you can see here the 30-minute now is obviously trying to push up, so we need to wait for a little bit longer to see what's gonna happen over here. Problem is, last 5 minutes, obviously that's when it may want to create a lot more movement, so it's a bit more tricky now. We may get a little bit more drawdown, but that's perfectly fine. Yeah, in my opinion, it's still worth a shot. Come on, I'll do the same thing every day. So yeah, not looking too good. But that's what you have to understand. You know, when you're in a trade and you see it in drawdown, and you know you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, it's just my idea is just not really coming into play right now. That's fine. You know, you just have to understand and accept that it's not going in your anticipated direction. And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to hold because you really want to see this trade win? Well, you need to obviously use what's in front of you to make your decisions, right? And what's in front of us right now is very tricky. You know, if this 5 minute closes up in the range, then this trade is finished at that point. If we start coming back down into this 5 minute consolidation, then the 30 minute hasn't closed back in the range, and there's a potential that we're still valid, but we've got 1 minute 40 to find out, right? Yeah, you can see right here it is not looking too good at this point. 5 minutes continuing to break its own highs. Obviously we have this rejection area right here. Maybe we're going to reject, but it doesn't seem so at that point. So we got a minute left for a potential closure of the trade, with only a small 4 pip at the minute. What would be really annoying is if this 5 minute candle doesn't, and then the next 5 minute candle just shoots up and like smashes stops. That would be super annoying. Oh, trust me, that can happen. We've got 43 seconds. I think it's actually minus 4 pips in drawdown is such a minimal. You know, if you actually think about like this, like usually that's like just that much amount of movement. You know, like the absolute tiniest amount of movement. So it's a bit frustrating. But as it stands, oh yes, look at that 5 minute. Well, we're gonna have to see. We've got 10 seconds over here to see what we're gonna do right here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's respected it. Can you believe that? It's respected the range, so now we are fully gonna have to wait. We're fully gonna have to wait for the 30 minute to close over here now at this point. Last 5 minutes to see whether we are going to break up. But looking at the 5 minute candle, it didn't close all that strong. So I'm not expecting this to now, go ahead and flip all back in our direction. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we're still respecting the range, so we don't have the exit signal the same way, when you don't have take profit signal or you don't have an entry signal. Just using all of the information I have to my advantage. So you can see here we're still respecting this area, right? So until basically the 30 minute closes, if it closes all the way up over here now, then that's it. It is what it is, because we didn't get the exit signal over here because it's still respecting the range, right? And plus the 30 minutes way still open. 30 minute is still open. Last 3 minutes, is it going to dump all the way down here? Probably not, but can it? Maybe it can. Who knows? It's GJ at the end of the day. Who knows what it wants to do? But we're going to wait and see to find out. Oh, Jesus, look at that. 15 minute candle's now flipped bearish after moving up. So very, very nice at this point that it's doing what it's doing. Very good. You can look at the 5 minute right now. We're actually coming down to break the low of that 5 minute. So this is why, guys, right? This is why you've got to use your lower time frames as well, and really study your lower time frames, because I've done a lot of work on this to understand when I need to be out of a position. So we didn't get the exit signal, and now we're still holding these sells because we did not get that exit signal, right? We did not get that candle to say that we're wrong yet. So we're still going to sit here and wait to see what happens. We may get a weak 30-minute bullish close, and then the next 30-minute take the drop, right? So we're gonna wait. Damn, that's a beautiful move. Yes. Well, it's not. Nothing has like really happened yet, but obviously it was nice to see the analysis holding and the confidence in the analysis based on what we've always just spoke about. You know, we literally had 10 seconds left to close that trade. I was about to close that trade, and then now we're moving right back into my entry point, all because of the fact that we stuck to what made sense and what the candles are telling us, right? But obviously we can this can still not go in our way. This can still not go in our favor, of course. But at the moment, there's nothing yet to tell us that we're wrong, that we need to exit the position. Unless, of course, that in the last minute or so, the 30-minute completely closes back above 152.090. Then yes, of course, we are 100% out of this trade and we are wrong. And I'm fine with that. As you can see here, this 5-minute candle is looking like a bad rejection candle if it's going to flip and start coming above, which it looks like it may in the last minute here, which is not good. Now gave us hope there. I was thinking, oh yeah, look at this, man, it's coming right the way down, but no, it's looking like it's gonna potentially create the flip to put us back in the range. To me, that's what it's looking like. So yeah, not good. Not good for me. Yeah, you can see now. Oh, what's she doing now? Oh, whoa, no. Maybe not. She's come all the way back down now. What? Man, this is what I mean about GJ, man. Whew. God damn. Oh, look at this now. She's going the complete other way. Makes so much sense. I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong, but jeez, if this was like the opposite trade right now, oh, I'd be getting anxiety. Yeah, and you can see right here, if the 15-minute candle as well is going to break this minor support and close below in 10 seconds, that is, in my opinion, looking pretty good for us now to shoot down. 30-minute as well. It's closing kind of weak, bearish, but yeah, I mean, this trade's still valid, guys, so I ain't saying anything right now. This trade is still valid, and we're gonna just see what happens right here. Oh, new 30-minute candle's already pushing down. If it breaks the lows at 152.034, oh, it's already broken the lows. Beautiful. If it starts to break these lows, then it should be good to come down at that point. Hopefully 30-minute close bearish, and London volume will, yeah, that's what I'm saying, London open volume is already kicking in over here. So we're going to get ready to put stops to break even once we obviously come down and tap that support. So yeah, this is pretty good, guys. We're moving into some profits here. We held today, but we're not going to be naive to think that this can't also come back up in the range, because it can. But it's broken the low at this point, so it should be good. 15-minute also closed below that minor support, so I'm pretty happy with it. But obviously, yeah, it's London open, right? Yeah, look at that right now. Ooh, London open's moving wild today. We had a couple pips profit, and then now she's retracing. It's a tricky one. When we move your stop, I'll be putting stops to break even if we reach 152, basically. If we reach 152, I'll be putting stops to break even. If we, if we get a 5-minute candle that wants to really stitch us up, and then we're gonna close that trade right there. Oh, we're back down now. she's decided to come back down after retracing again, so we're gonna see if we can get that push here. Come on, GJ, let's have some nice London Open volume. Give us a push to the downside. It's a little bit volatile right now, London Open. You can see the volatility. So probably want to see the first 5-minute close to kind of understand what it wants to do. It's a little bit choppy right now. You can see how it's coming down to its low, then trying to retrace. So yeah, I don't really like when open moves like that. So definitely we're just going to want to chill for a minute, wait for the first 5 minutes to kind of settle down, and then I think it will give us a little bit more clarity on what it wants to do. But we should have more volume than this, man, because we also had the 1 hour candle close bearish, if you look. So look at that, we had the 1 hour candle closing bearish, so we also had a 1 hour resistance formed as well. So I mean, to be honest, for me, this couldn't get, you know, and then plus you had the 15-minute candle breaking this amount of support. So for me, there's not really any extra confirmation that you could have had, really, other than the fact that if it wasn't maybe out of the range. But apart from that, you know, there's literally nothing else that you could have really asked for or wanted to say that we were coming down. So it's taking its time. It's not even moved more than 2 pips right now, London Open volume. It's not moved more than 2 pips. Sorry guys, I'm talking a lot of commentary, but it's one of those situations. It is what it is, sir. Yes. It is what it is. If whatever happens, really, we don't really know what's going to happen over here. But you can see the 5 minutes just not really doing anything, is it? So I suppose we just sit and wait, because we don't know what it wants to do right now. Man, it's one of the worst London Opens I've ever seen. Usually it would have smashed TP by now, you know. So we're just gonna still just sit here and wait to see what happens. But yeah, I think once this trade is finished, we're gonna relax. Yeah, so literally once we come down to around 152 at that point, then we're gonna obviously put stops to break even, like I was saying, and then we're gonna try and get this squeeze to the downside if we get that chance, because she's just not doing anything. 10 seconds left for this 5 minute to close. I don't really know what it wants to do, so I suppose once we let this 5 minute close, we'll have, like I said, a bit more clarity. Okay, so 5 minute candle closed bearish, which is obviously pretty good. So yeah, now I suppose we just wait to see if we're gonna get that continuation. Man, it's been a choppy Monday. Choppy Monday, we're gonna call it. Choppy Monday. Yeah, so we're just kind of floating at the entry point right now. So we just sit and wait. Oh, I've answered when we, yeah, like I said, I'll move my stop when we come down to 152, because I mean we either have to come down to 152 or we have to move back up in the range. So you know, it's one of the two things, right? It's one of the two things. But we just don't know right now, because GJ is she's just doing what she's doing, I suppose. It's moving strange. So we're just gonna continue to sit here and see what happens, basically. But once we obviously break this low, that's when I believe that we'll now continue down, because then we're breaking the low of the first 5 minutes of volume, which should suggest then that it's made its mind up which direction it wants to go. So we sit and we wait for that. Man, honestly, I've not seen London Open like this in a while. Where it's just so slow. Usually it just glides you. I mean, we're only asking for a bloody 6 pip move to the downside to go break even. That's all I'm asking for, you know. So to me, this is proper struggling over here. Yeah, this is slightly struggling over here. So we really want to see it continue, man. Really want to see this continue. Now, anyone else in GJ sells in the YouTube? Anyone else in sells? Man, this is a tricky situation over here. Not seen a London Open volume like this in a while. Just so boring and just no movement. Seen like a pip movement here, really. 1 to 2 pips at most. So I think whenever the drop or obviously the reverse, if we go into minus, whenever that happens, it should be a big move, because the way that it's acting like it's kind of waiting for something here. But great to see a few people dropping likes on the stream. Obviously we'll probably wait until we see if this is a winner or loser, because that usually defines on the amount of likes. But we haven't really looked at any other pairs today, such have we? Gold not really doing much right now, just ranging. See pound yen just there. GN's coming down, which is pretty good. But we're gonna obviously stick to pound yen over here. So first 10 minutes is really just done nothing. First 10 minutes has really done nothing. So let's wait and see. Still just sitting on our hands right now, waiting for a movement. It's literally just floating around my entry point at this point. So we wait. Ooh, and now it's deciding to go the other way at this point. It's now deciding to move up, that you can see. So we're having the same issues here on the 1 hour time frame as we was this whole time with the smaller time frames. Man, that's just wild. Because as well, if we get this 15-minute closure, you know, kind of closing back in this 5-minute consolidation, then yeah, this is just garbage. I don't want to know. You know, I either want to see this break out, or you know, I close, because this is just not good at all. What we want to see for a continuation to the downside. You know, we're already starting to now flip back in that given direction. So yeah, maybe opens made its mind up. Maybe that's why we were struggling, because it doesn't want us to come down. Maybe. Yeah, you can see right here, this 5-minute candle is pushing way up into the range right now. So yeah. Ooh, London Open. It's a tricky one, but we're gonna have to wait. Have to sit on our hands here until we get that. Oh yeah, look at that now. It's broken the high on the 30-minute. 5-minute candle out of nowhere, that's just pushing us into the range that you can see right here, which is annoying, right? Of course, because we had an opportunity to get out with 3 pips. It then pushed us down into profits, looked like it was trying to go our way, and yeah, now it's just not going our way at all. Now she is not going our way at all. So yes, tricky one here right now. Yeah, the only way this is working out is if this 5 minutes a big ass liquidity grab, but I highly doubt it. Yeah, I think I'm about getting ready to close in a second over here. If we start to keep pushing up, then I'm going to close this position here in a minute, because we've got 2 minutes left, and I highly doubt that it's going to go and move in our direction at this point. You see the CU position is bullish weekly and bullish daily. That's fine. That's perfectly fine by me. That is perfectly fine by me, because I'm looking at the 30-minute time frame and I'm looking at the lower time frames, and we didn't get a bullish confirmation here at all. So I mean, I didn't get an opportunity to take a buy, but I don't really, you know, if I have a bullish weekly and a bullish daily, then obviously, yeah, my bias is buys, but that doesn't mean I can't look for a selling opportunity, right? But this daily candle is just currently bullish. It's not bullish because it hasn't closed yet. The previous daily candle was actually bearish, so yeah, it's one of those ones. But yeah, no, I have no doubt this trade is not playing out. We're in the 4-hour range. The 1 hour is not really doing much. 30-minute obviously is not doing much. 15-minute is coming back in the range. 5-minute also coming back in the range. So yeah, no, I get it, but I stuck to my analysis here today, which I'm going to do every single time. So yes, believe me, there's been plenty of times where daily, weekly, monthly is all bullish, and I've taken a quick sell scalp, right? So yeah, but yeah, people say what they want to say. So if this 5-minute candle closes, like I said, back above 152.90, then we're going to close the position and we're going to call it a day, which it looks like it's going to do over here. If it doesn't, I'll be very surprised at that point. Very surprised. Let's go 4, 3, 2. Yeah, I closed this trade right here, guys. So now you can see here that we had a much smaller loss, right? And then look at that, minute we closed the position, it's now running way more drawdown than ever. So we came out with a 4 pip loss. That's it, 4 pip loss. And in the end, we had an added confirmation that the 1 hour candle created a resistance, and we had a 30-minute candle that also did end up respecting. So it's a shame. London Open was meant to move down, right? We see here as well how the 15-minute time frame on the lower time frame broke this support. It broke this support, so there was a higher probability that we were going to continue down. We only had to get to here, and we only had to retest this. But of course, at that point now, you can see how we've closed back in the range. So now it just becomes easy, because now you just close in a minor loss rather than trying to hold that sell when we already knew it was worth a one shot at that chance. And then obviously if it doesn't work out, then we're not gonna bother about trying to hold that position, right? Because then obviously then at that point, if the 30-minute now closes back in the range, well, of course it makes sense that we're not going to go down. We're just in the 4-hour range at that point. So we still wouldn't be looking for buys. It's not like, oh yeah, now it's buys. Well, where are we going to go? Like, we've got resistance right here, got another resistance right here. You then have your 4-hour level right here. So buys are messy, and yeah, it's very tricky, but it was definitely worth a shot from what I've done. And I've taken trades like this plenty of times, and you know, most of the time we're gonna move down back to the support and actually break out. You know, that's what I'm trying to achieve, you know. But yeah, you could argue that yeah, high time frames are bullish, but then, you know, we had bearish confirmation on the lower time frames. So, you know, and the other thing you got to remember as well is that even though the daily week is bullish, it means overall in the back of your mind you're looking for a buy position. But what you're really doing as well is you're just understanding that you could have a bullish move any time in the day. You know, it could be MY session. You might have a move down in London. We might come all the way down to here, and then MY we drive all the way up, because that's just sometimes how the market likes to move, you know. So, but yeah, we would have had a full stop loss hit. So I hope those who potentially took the same position got out in literally 4 pip drawdown. So, you know, in my opinion, that's a win in terms of a losing trade. If you can have a -4 pip loss and maintain a much higher win rate, which I do at, you know, like 10 to 15 to 20 pips per trade, and I'm only losing 4 pips, and think about how many losses you can have and still be profitable. So I'm still pleased overall. So, but yeah, we had a losing position here on the stream, which is fine. It is what it is. But yeah. So yeah, you can see right here where the position was taken was originally at 152.060, and I closed at exactly 152.100, which is a 4 pip drawdown, you know. And the original risk way up over here, 10 pips. So you can see how I managed to get lose half of the trade based on what we knew was. So the minute we said, look, 5-minute candle closed above 152.090, we're out. We got that, we're out. And then look what happens. Right? So yeah, just got to use that to your advantage. And obviously we had an opportunity where it did want to push back down, but then clearly we just rejected that support to drive up. So those of you who wanted to maybe look for buys, your opportunity then was to say, okay, how could I have caught that buy? Well, it would have been based off the 5 minutes straight up. You know, you wouldn't have bought anywhere in here because you didn't have no confirmation. Oh, look at this now. We're now trying to break up over here. Look at this 30-minute candle. She's just driving up. So yeah, 8 AM volume just did not play out in our way at all. But if you were to look at it from a lower time frame perspective, and we're just to block out London Open right now, you know, which way would you anticipate the next candle to go, right? Your bias at that point would always be bearish based on what it tells you. You know, we had a 15-minute consolidation, and we had a close below coming into open. We should be popping down to the support. That's your idea. And you had a 30-minute R formed, right? And you had a 1-hour resistance formed. Okay, so for me, it was worth a shot. But I knew in the back of my mind, higher time frame bullish. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna be extra cautious. So I'm gonna already plan ahead where I'm gonna close that position, because then what makes more sense if we do that? Well, then upside, where to your key resistance levels. Alright then, guys. So yeah, looks like Monday morning we started off with a loss to start the week, but that's okay because it's only a small position. Right, so we actually only lost £60, which is not bad at all. But yeah, you can see right here that obviously now the 30-minute candle is pushing up. So yeah, the thing is, you got to understand as well, you know, if the bias was bullish, then what you would have had leading up to volume would have been closes back in the range. Because if we got a 30-minute closure back above this whole area, what would I then look for? Well, I'd be looking for buys, right? I'd be looking to push up to your 4-hour level, because then I'd understand that we have a 30-minute resistance right here. That was your range, and then this is your 4-hour level. So of course, if I've got a 30-minute candle prior to open closing back in the range, then I can anticipate open to push up to the top and then hit the top of the 4-hour level. But it's because we were creating resistance that it made sense that maybe we're going to push down to the lower end of the 4-hour range and then see what happens. But that's all we're going to say for the minute, because we're actually going to call it a day here in a sec. Are you looking for a second trade? Probably not. If I was going to look for a second trade, I'd probably want to see some form of a support formed over here to get me to this level and then this level over here, because otherwise what you may find is you may get this big volume candle, and then because we're just in the 4-hour range, we've reached the top of the 4-hour and we do this, we just pull right back into the range. So yeah, for me, I would want to see that push out of the move, because this is rejection again on the 4-hour. We've seen this before, so this is what the 4-hour looks like right now. So we know that we can push up into here and then just boom, straight back down, do the same thing, create a rejection. So you want to see a support and then bang, should be out of here. Alright guys, so anyway, we're going to finish off. Make sure you drop a like on the stream. Obviously we took a loss today, but that's perfectly fine. I would take that trade every time, over and over again. But yeah, it is what it is, right? So yeah, anyway, we're going to call it a day, and we're going to see everybody tomorrow morning. And yeah, thanks very much everyone, take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers guys.